I'm really interested to hear more, Warren, about the incentive structure in American business. It's not included in regulatory reform proposal, and you said right in there it's not getting enough attention. I mean, how big of a risk is the incentive structure that continues in American business?
I think there has to be more downside in the management of really large, important financial institutions. If some institution is important enough to create a real problem for the American public if it fails, then the CEO of that institution and the board need something so that if it really ever does need help, that they suffer enormously, and particularly the CEO, because people respond to incentives, and if they get the upside and they don't have the downside, if you look at all the places that have failed that have been big time, I don't think anybody's going away broke that ran them. They should, and I think unless that's tackled, you will have people again in the future thinking they get the upside, and if it doesn't work, they walk away, and they may not be as rich as before, but they're plenty rich. And I think directors ought to care about that because they ought to arrange to have the risk manager be the CEO, and they ought to care about it. And if they sit there and collect their $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and when things go bad, they still collect their $200,000 or $300,000 a year, I don't think they're thinking about the kind of things I want them thinking about.
Do you have any confidence that the system's going to change in that way? Really?
Well, we'll see. I'll keep writing about it. But yeah, I think eventually we tend to get things right in this country, but I think that we don't get there necessarily the first time around.
Finally, talking about the word partnership, it's something that's discussed a lot at Berkshire Hathaway. Does Wall Street value partnership right now, Warren?
I think sometimes they do, yeah. No, I think there's a certain partnership aspect to many of the operations, but I don't think it's the same as back when they were true partnerships. But I think I think, well, just take Goldman Sachs. I think they think of me as an investor and as a partner. Yeah.
You talked about Solomon's role in Geico and that partnership.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times
Wall Street does a lot of good things and there's some terrible things, and but that's like most industries. I mean, it's like government and even churches, as we learn sometimes, or something of the sort. And what we need to do is change incentives and change rules so that we improve how institutions behave. We're not going to change human behavior. We can change incentives to affect human behavior.